me harder.
That's true. It's difficult for me to threaten you all with suffering because it's what you signed up for.
Are the Simpsons still on, Cap?
Hmm?
Are the Simpsons still on?
I have no idea. I never watched them. I think so.
Just curious, if South Park's on 21, what are the Simpsons on?
A
Oh,
lot.
this isn't current. This is. I'm still watching episodes from 2017.
Oh, jeez.
I think they're on season 26 right now.
I need to catch up from. I've watched I've missed the last 2 seasons, I think, and they are well worth catching up on.
There's 23 seasons.
And Simpsons is like 38, possibly more. I was a kid when that came out.
I was about to say, Cap, what's older, South Park or you?
I don't know. I'll look at the pilot.
The answer for me is me.
I'm older. Yes. I'm 3 years older. I'm as old as the Lion King.
I cannot remember what was in Sphinx's letter.
Oh,
He told us off hard.
No. That was the Bowery King's letter.
Oh, okay.
There is a
Said-
devoted postman. You'll be getting a lot of correspondence.
Okay.
okay. I did write that down actually.
Thank you, Cap. Because I can't remember the name of the gangs.
I think one was the Jackals.
Oh yeah, I remember the Jackals. Scorpions!
Yay! Scorpions.
It wasn't the Sphinx. It was just Sphinx.
The Sphinx.
So now we're fighting gangs.
I mean, if you want to. By all means, ignore Sphinx's request.
Sphinxes scare me. And then
They
they're
should.
riddled.
Do any of you know anything about these scorpions and jackals?
Easter knows that they're bad groups. The Scorpions are white people. Like they're predominantly no, my bad. They're all white. Like they named themselves after the German band the Scorpions. And the Jackals are predominantly black. The Scorpions deal in meth, and the Jackals deal in protection.
Noted.
But Easter, that's all you know. They're pretty small time. Like, Scorpions, it's called a gang, but there's only like 10 of them.
It's a gang in the loosest sense.
Right. It's a gang as in they hang out, they are friends, and they do crimes, and generally make the neighborhood worse.
West Side Story gangs.
No, there will be no snapping fingers and no dancing knife fights.
We have Faye. There are possibilities.
Alright, fair enough.
Not anymore, we don't.
But I mean, like, the Scorpions are selling meth to kids, and the Jackals are holding up little old ladies for protection money for their laundromats.
So they're rotten people.
Yeah. Make no mistake. Neither of these organizations are just standing up for the hood, so to speak.
So eliminating both is the best course of action. The question is, can we get them both to eliminate each other?
Now, Holmes, you'd have to be a real rotten person to do something like that.
I'm just saying, it could
I
happen.
think that would be too rotten at all.
Easter, the hoops you have to jump through to convince two groups of people to kill each other to a man is despicable.
You just have to convince the leaders.
Get rid of is not the most clear language.
We have to pull them all in. That way, we get all the members. Even the exclusive. The reclusive ones. And then it gets tricky.
Oh my goodness. What are you going to do?
Leaving
Invite them all to a bake sale and drive a van into the building?
We can always claim there's something of immense value, like a whole briefcase full of like meth or something, and have them fight over something they think is incredibly valuable. Like the briefcase from Pulp Fiction.
leaving a large number of bodies is something that there are consequences to it, and those consequences usually involve leaving the city and going undercover for some time. Have these people done anything that warrants wholesale murder?
Yes, you got it.
Were you trying to get my attention?
And to both questions, yes.
Now, perhaps because I'm the only full-time resident of the city here, I have no problem if they die for what they've done. They seem like terrible people. But a gang war is not something that I want in my backyard.
Oh, that's why we have to pick the location somewhere isolated.
It's not
And then
going to be isolated.
Wars usually require large numbers of people. It doesn't sound like either of these gangs is equipped for an actual war.
Yeah, but if we do, we wipe out the gang population like immensely.
Most
we probably
gangs
need
don't concern themselves greatly with collateral damage. So
that's
once-
why we take them somewhere isolated. The briefcase. We lure them with the briefcase.
This is the most stupid plan I've heard in a long time. And I work for your government.
Now, Holmes, I
Lovely.
just have to ask you. You do understand this isn't a noir film we're making.
I'm saying life is the film you want it to be.
it may simply be simpler to hunt them down and deal with them before they're aware that there's a problem.
See, if you're a werewolf, that makes sense. If you're a human who is squishy and not, bulletproof, it gets tricky.
Holmes has a point there. I can hold my own in a fight, but I'm not an assassin.
It's like I can spin them around and cause them all kinds of havoc, but in a gunfight, I am not going to take more than 2 down, probably. Maybe 3 on a good day.
Werewolves are far from bulletproof.
Most of what you were suggesting was an all-out gunfight on the streets.
Not with us in it, with them fighting each other and us sitting back on the rooftop, sipping wine.
Bear in mind that you are in a congested city, and
There are-
all the gunfights tend to have collateral damage, even if there's no one immediately nearby.
Bullets travel. That's a fact. Who
This
was
is
it?
true.
Christine Buisson almost got killed by a stray bullet.
Crazy.
It
does happen.
Yeah, it went through her wall and passed through her work chair and ended up embedded in the ceiling of her apartment.
When was this?
A couple of years ago. I had just moved here, so it must be 3 or 4 years ago. Because she was like, I usually sit in that chair.
Wow.
Most small gangs like these also won't travel too far outside their territory. It's
Ding,
not
ding,
like
ding, ding.
that. Essentially, in order to get away from people, we'd have to go far away from where their usual haunts are. And frankly, they'll have to pass through territory of larger, more dangerous gangs. They would be disinclined to do so.
You're not wrong. Admittedly, it would have to be something really valuable to get their attention and pull them.
Well, if
I'm
you
not-
make it
anything
too
that would
valuable,
draw
it's
them
going-
away, anything that would be valuable enough to draw them to someplace isolated would leave their territory so vulnerable that it wouldn't be worth getting. They'd lose everything to gain the treasure.
Now,
Most people on this
looking at
level are
their-
not criminal masterminds. They're looking to make a living.
They're looking for that big score. I mean, they're gang members. They are, yeah, not masterminds.
Like,
I mean, what is their motivation for being here in Chicago?
they live here.
If it's simply a matter of not making it worth their trouble to be here anymore,
Yes.
we do get rid of them. No bodies drop, no collateral damage.
Do you have 5 dots in resources?
No.
Do you know
I have
someone
3.
who does?
No.
Possibly.
Look like 5 dots.
I say, thinking over what I know of the Abbey and how I could spin this to make it worth their while.
You would need a lot of spin.
A lot more spin than this weird guy we met thought it'd be a good idea for us to do this, so we're going to.
Now, these people are doing horrible things, but they do seem rather small scale. What is their inconvenience to Sphinx? Or
Proximity. Most likely, there's something that he sees.
I am probably going nuclear in my scenario, but it is totally worth investigating.
I'm just saying. So the two most straightforward ways of handling the situation are Alex's go in, kill everyone on both sides, and limp home, and Holmes's get them to kill each other and mop up who's left. But both of them, like the first one, will be difficult personally, and the second one will be difficult morally. But Yusuf, what was the question you asked?
whether I was posing the
Why is
hypothetical.
Sphinx upset?
Yes,
We can lure them into the underground.
because it doesn't strike me as the type of person to want to do this for the neighborhood's sake.
Most likely, they're personally inconvenient to him.
Yusuf, make a wits and empathy roll.
I would love to. I have empathy now.
Yay!
Yeah!
Yeah, I'm a few points short, and it may show.
A few smiles short of an empathy score.
2.
2. Blight is a very strong word.
It is.
Yeah, that is
A blight
well played.
is a disease. You don't negotiate with a disease. You cut it out. You cure the disease. You kill a disease. The body has no concern for the disease, and neither should the physician.
I point out this word choice and say that, well, sounds like he does expect us to find a permanent solution.
Well, it's not just that. Why would a man use the word blight?
He
I
finds
don't think he's
them-
concerned with property values.
They've done something personally.
Yes.
bother.
They've crossed lines.
But again, it's a matter of proximity. You must have
Or it's
run into them,
threat.
and that is a small area.
It is fascinating that you think there's a logical conclusion.
It's true. It may just be a test to see how far he can push us.
Where the fuck's
Now-
the button go?
Now, based on what you've seen him do, does he seem like a pusher to you?
Yes?
He seems like a poker.
I mean, Alex, consider how he got you to say the name of your organization. A feat of linguistic jujitsu that drew something out of you that you may not have wanted to tell. What's he drawing out of you now?
I think that it might be worth sending a message to our contacts in the court, the Prince's Court. Did want us to alert him if there was going to be a body pile.
That's true.
And the prince may know, or some of our allies within the court may know the area a little better. See if if there's a particular place of power or. Oh, hold on. Sorry, monster's crawling all over me and I'm plugging shit. There we go.
Kitty cat, no.
There, okay, he's settled.
Do we have any other leads before we jump through these hoops? I don't particularly enjoy jumping through hoops.
Neither do I, but if this Sphinx is the only lead that we have and he wants us to perform this task before he cooperates. So either we find a different way to press him into cooperating, or we do this.
Admittedly, what he wants us to do is get rid of gang members. This is not, on a bad track. I mean, this is something we might want to do anyway. It's not like he's asking us to knock over a bank.
I'm
Yeah.
here in this city to hunt down rampant monsters, not people.
Well, now, Yusuf, are they really so different?
Don't start that with
Miss?
me. You won't like where this goes.
We've all had this debate too many times.
It's the hunter orangutan story.
Orangutan?
I don't know if I know that one.
So TLDR, in one of Edgar Allan Poe's stories, there's an orangutan that's either just a fucking orangutan or a metaphor for racial violence.
Oh.
And it is so hotly contested that many places that have like Poe scholarship, like conferences and things like that, have an explicit rule of you do not talk about the orangutan.
You can't
Like,
bring it up.
you can't talk about it anymore. It causes too many problems. And so that's the orangutan.
Got it. And yes, this is an argument that every hunter organization has, which has varying answers. Kali's Raiders' answer is, it's true, there is not much difference, and that's why we need to treat them with care. Ashwood Abbey's answer is, who cares? No Mystery's answer is, absolutely not. They're completely physiologically different. And Task Force Valkyrie's answer is, am I being ordered to say? What do you think, sir?
Did you check the murders at the Rue Morgue?
My answer to that is, what's it look like on paper? 27 murders is 27 murders, regardless if it's a human or a monster.
Remind me, do we know Holmes's allegiance?
Yes.
Yes.
Sadly, this
Who
is
is
probably
who
true.
is he with?
No
No.
mysteries.
No, mistress. Cool, thank you.
Physiologically, yes. Morally, question mark.
Alignment
There's
is
no-
not a meaningful statistic in this game.
No, it's not.
There's no question that there are people who are worthy of being hunted. For the most part, the small city gang members don't usually fall into that category.
Exactly. We're here for a reason.
Well, before we get much farther, I think we need to know more about these people.
I can
We
look
could
into
have 6 of them walk up right now and I wouldn't know who they were.
it. I can look into
Ooh,
it.
ooh. We could get the police information on them.
That's a great idea, actually.
That's a job for you, my friend.
They,
Yeah, call
they might
up your
have the
allies.
complete picture.
All
All right,
so
what was that
Holmes is
detective
gonna,
name?
Holmes is gonna call
I
O'Hanrahan.
wrote it down somewhere.
Give me-
Hanrahan. Yep.
Alex, it
Give me a-
sounds like you want to go check them out personally.
I'm gonna hit the streets and see what the word is on them.
Sounds good.
I don't need to go to their neighborhoods to get gossip on them.
And Easter, what are you gonna do?
I don't know if it's something we should all do together, but Easter wants to take this to the vampire courts.
It's not necessary that you go together.
Okay.
Just know that what you say will speak for the group. And if the group
Okay.
if you say something and the group doesn't follow through on it, then all of you will be punished.
Understandable. And
Actually,
I've lived in this city long enough to know protocol for this. Do I send a letter ahead that I have something to share with the class?
It's not necessary.
Okay.
The Mad Prince's court is open to all.
Cool.
But don't expect so extravagant a greeting this time.
Right, no party this time.
He was putting on airs before. And
Ronaldo.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
successfully.
Researching on the street. Streetwise plus wits.
Yes. And Yusuf, what would you like to do?
Well, Easter kind of scurried off without needing any backup, so that was my idea.
She's still here.
No, it's whatever.
No, she actually wanted to have backup.
Did you?
Yeah, she doesn't want to go to the courts alone.
Oh, you're scared.
No, I'm respectful.
I'll go with you.
Going stag? Very crude.
Yeah, I'll go as your backup.
Appreciate it.
That's good. Oh Jesus.
Nice.
Holmes, make a make a presence and persuasion roll to coordinate with O'Hanrahan. He's still on administrative leave, so you can just go down to whatever the name of that bar was. That shitty bar.
All right, so that was persuasion and street. Brain
Presence
fart.
and persuasion.
Presence and persuasion. All right.
Just for the record, Alex tends to talk to homeless people. They tend to know just about everything, and no one ever talks to them. And
Nice.
She's got experience doing it,
They do love talking.
and she brings food with her when she does these.
I got 2 successes.
Marvelous. Oh man, I posted an image of the bar, but I didn't post the name. Oh well, doesn't matter. Perfect.
Probably the cop bar. Yep, could call it Caps.
Holmes, you get you chill with O'Hanrahan for a little while. He gives you basically, they used to be good kids. Used to be. Shit, some of them are still basically kids. I think the leader of the Jackals is like 21 or something. Thinks he's a big shot because he can go buy him booze legit now. I tried reaching out to those kids. I tried reaching out to them when they were young, but it was hard. It was hard for me to talk to the Jackals because I was white and they didn't trust me, and I completely understand why. People like me kill people like them. It's a fucking tragedy. And when it comes to those scorpions, Jesus Christ. They got away with a lot of shit because the other boys on the force thought that they were just having a goof. But I know when I see some kids walking around doing the skinhead stomp, okay? And that's their favorite fucking dance move. And I wish I could have gotten to them too, but they don't see a reason to talk to a class traitor like me.
Man, we all try.
Alex, you got 4 successes. You find a delightful little homeless camp, and when I say delightful, I mean as delightful as a homeless camp gets. 4 people hanging around a burning trash barrel. 'Cause let's go old school. You show up with little grocery bags filled with food, and these people know the score. They just look at you and say, "What do you want to know, girly?"
What can you tell me about the jackals and the scorpions?
One of them smiles. Her teeth are filled with holes, and she says, "Well, the scorpions cut their meth. I don't know what with, but it's nothing too bad, I guess." The leader of the scorpions is Oswald, and his second is oh god, all I do is destroy. Okay, and his second is Bastion, and the excuse me. And there we go. And the other one is let's try again. Nope. No. And the other one, their leader is Lamar, but he's just a leader because he's the oldest, and he calls the shots because he's generally agreed upon as the smartest.
Sorry, what was that name again?
Lamar.
All right, thanks, Cap. I'm still trying to get to my notepad.
I got you.
I can't remember the name of Oswald's lieutenant.
Bastion.
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 Is it the jackals?
Uh.
No, it's scorpions. Okay.
So Oswald is the leader.
Yes.
Bastion is the second.
Yes.
And then for the jackals,
Okay. That makes more sense.
The jackals seem to have a sort of looser confederated structure. Like, they all listen to Lamar because he seems to know his shit and everything goes smoothly when he's in charge. Oswald's in charge because he is the leader. He is number one. It seems as if the Scorpions have a strict hierarchical structure, and the jackals seem to be a sort of a looser confederation. These 10 guys are working together, and one of them is nominally in charge, but for the most part, they have freedom to do what they wish. Scorpions are much more rigid. And, like, Lamar is much more likely to listen to his guys, and Oswald is not. It's the difference between what do you have to say and know your role.
what was the? How have you interacted with them personally? How do they treat folks on the street?
The woman who's missing a lot of teeth says, "Well, I buy from the Scorpions, and they're all right. I give them the money, and they give me my shit." And another one says, "Yeah, we don't have much dealing with Lamar and his jackals because, you know, we don't have any property, and he doesn't charge us to stay here, thank goodness."
Cool.
guess he doesn't see much point in picking on the little guy. Well, the littlest guy.
All right, so understood then.
Oh, and it's clear when they talk about them that there is already animosity between the two groups. They operate in two adjoining neighborhoods. And
Yeah, that was the other question I had: is location and territory.
I mean, like, they're really small time. The Scorpions operate like they both just control a block. And like the Scorpions sell meth out of an apartment building, and the Jackals run protection out of an apartment building for the local businesses. Like there's a liquor store, a convenience store, a newsstand, and a laundromat that they run protection on.
What sort of weaponry have you seen with them? Do they all have guns?
They've all got knives. That much is for certain. Most of them have handguns. Oswald's got that giant fucking compensator.
Compensator?
Yeah. Real big, real loud, shiny chrome. Big shooter. Sadly, it appears she doesn't know enough about guns to describe it as anything larger, anything more than a large revolver.
Chrome-plated Desert Eagle, maybe?
Something like that. But none of them are rocking, AK-47s or anything like that. For the most part, they've got 38 specials and small scale semi-automatics.
Well, thank you for your help.
Thank you, miss. And they all distribute their snacks. I imagine fruit, granola bars, and some little treats. Everybody gets a bag of Reese's Pieces. Oh my god.
Stuff that.
Desert Eagle?
Yeah. They're kind of absurd.
Depends which way you want to go.
Oh, there we go. The second one.
That's what I thought.
Okay.
I shot one of those, nearly broke my wrist.
Yep.
Yeah, that's some power.
That's a thing.
Look at the bullets on that.
Yeah, it's fuck off big.
He probably doesn't even have the strength to properly wield it. It's just, it's big, it's shiny, it's scary, it makes a big boom, and if you shoot someone with it, they will fucking die. And this is the world of darkness, so I know what you're thinking. Oh man, lots of guys with guns. I bet the cops around here come around here a lot. Nope.
Out of curiosity, would it be possible to get like a dock wagon with the vampires option?
Bitch, maybe. I mean, it depends how deep into Vinculum you're willing to go.
Because I'm looking into vampiric options at this point.
But
Because this is going to get bad.
It was never gonna get good. So Easter and Yusuf, you arrive at the Mad Prince's little mansion.
Wonderful.
The fool answers the door and ushers you in.
I give him a casual hello and quietly ask him, is today a good day for the prince to talk?
He's expecting you.
Wonderful.
So many question marks.
When you enter the main antechamber, the Hound is present. The sheriff is gone. It's really just the prince fussing with a little tablet. Like, it doesn't match his garb at all, but he just beep, boop, boop, beep, beep, boop.
Who was the sheriff again? I'm
The
trying to remember from that.
The sheriff was the gender-shifting, sea consciousness Malkavian.
Oh, okay.
An evidently dangerous individual. Had a lot of weapons, spoken a lot of voices.
There's a lot going on with that one.
There's a lot. The sea consciousness is a lot. They each get their own willpower score. Keep fighting. But without looking up, he just says, "Ah, yes, good, as expected." Now the only question I have is, why are you here?
To inform you of current events, Yusuf looks to Easter.
At your-
see something. It's in Egypt. Water damage. Stone. A big cat.
Actually,
Jackals.
yes.
Jackals and sphinxes and scorpions. Oh my.
Ah, yes! The little desert. Fancy that. A sphinx in the middle between jackals and scorpions.
Huh.
And wanting us to clear the desert for them.
Interesting. Well,
But before we
by
moved
all
on
means,
to
scour the sands if you wish.
scouring, we wanted to get a by your leave and see if you knew anything unusual about that place. That may make it particularly interesting to sphinxes.
Interesting to sphinxes. No, that little coterie seems to operate on its own twisted logic. Now that I bring that up, So, what is a sphinx?
A person that, or an individual that speaks in riddles.
And what happens if you can't answer the riddle?
Traditionally, you die.
So if
Tradition.
you weren't intelligent enough to be worthy, you don't deserve to live.
All right.
That makes a little more sense.
So if you're asking what crime these people committed, that's all the crime they need to commit. They weren't clever enough to deserve life in a sphinx's eyes.
And so it's more retribution than wanting something they have.
True, their crime was stupidity, and their punishment is death.
Interesting.
Doesn't seem very fair to me, but it's none of my business. I don't believe our good man understands. I don't believe our good sphinx understands what it is that enables people to be intelligent, or perhaps more accurately, what prevents them from being intelligent. Unless, of course, he has a biological deterministic point of view, which is very restricting.
We didn't get quite that deep in our conversation.
Probably for the best. You're dealing with a rather dangerous group.
Indeed.
Dangerous insofar as how willing they are to bring death.
And dangerous as well in the company they seem to keep.
True enough. Though, do not mistake the mystique of the master for the danger of the apprentice. Or the other way around. The danger of the apprentice for the mystique of the master.
We believe if we do this individual a good turn, that they will then point us in the direction we need.
A sphinx is always honest. It can't afford to lie. Lying is the behavior of the stupid. A true sphinx, doesn't need to lie to win. Of course, a man is just a man. He can only aspire to be such a beast. Which reminds me. Yes, he aspires to be a beast. Funny.
All right, well, unless we have other questions, Easter.
I have none. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
And I think that we take our leave.
Take our leave.
And y'all boogie. You meet up again at Honeybees, presumably. I don't know. Fuck it.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Honeybees!
Please.
The place is much brighter now that Sphinx has left. Or one of these Sphinxes? It's not entirely clear.
We'll go with singular for now.
Yeah, the prince seems to suggest that there's more than one of them, but you've only seen one. In any event, share your information.
Alex says what she's found out.
Yusuf shares that we have the prince's blessing.
And Easter adds that it's not so much that these people are guarding something or anything like that. It's just the Sphinx thinks they're stupid, and for that they should die.
Actually, we got a few more questions in with the detective. If that would be okay.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see. We already know the leadership. Do you know what type of business they're in?
I know those little white boys been peddling meth. I don't know too much about the other boys on the block.
Is there anything out of the ordinary as far as, the weird sort of stuff that pops up?
Nah, I ain't seen any weirdness around there.
That's something at least.
I mean, maybe we get a lot of reports, but nothing that links to either of them specifically.
Okay. Is there any chance we could get some profile pictures on them?
I can make that happen.
Sounds good. Like, we'll try to make sure everything goes smooth. But
Yeah.
it looks like there might be some trouble in that area.
Do you want my friends to come running or slow down?
I will have to let you know.
Keep in touch.
So far, we're just looking into it.
Right on.
But I will definitely keep in touch. Thank you.
No problem, kid.
Ronald, the meth lab, is it in the apartment building they're dealing out of, or is it somewhere else?
It is in the apartment they're dealing out of. They do not have
Oh,
enough
crap.
money to get enough territory to cook meth in any place other than their basement.
And they cook their own meth.
Yes.
Oh man.
What is that movie? Breaking Bad in here.
Oh, you can smell
Well,
that skag from over here.
Yeah, these are the dumb ones.
Well,
If
presumably
they're
they
cooking
have.
if they're cooking meth in an apartment building, we have to be careful because there are explosive fumes associated with it.
Poisonous gas.
We don't want to burn the building.
Agreed.
I'm about to say, in the buildings they operate out of, there are definitely innocent people who just live there, man.
Yeah. Of course.
I mean, would your friend respond to if we got into the building and called in an anonymous tip?
Please, the police don't go out there. There's a meth lab. No shit, lady. Click.
But here it is. There's all the money and the drugs. Oh, he hung up on me.
The amount of money at a typical neighborhood meth lab isn't something that's going to be all that attractive to a cop, unless they just happen to be there taking a slice.
Yeah, so that is probably the more likely, given how the department appears to be set up, that they will probably just take a cut.
But it's not big money.
And now that I think about it, I didn't even mean to set this up on purpose, but it makes more sense that the Scorpions will be able to pay off the police. Number one, because they're white, and number two, because they are, like, they're dealing with something that's more blatantly illegal and easier to track.
It's also lucrative.
Right. Like, that's what I mean. Like, the only reason they're not pulling ahead of the Jackals in terms of money and stuff like that is because they have to pay the cops. Whereas Lamar and the Jackals are... protection is hard to prove, you know? You need to get the business owner to be willing to admit to that, and then they have to go to court about it.
There was one other thing I actually wanted to check on the streets, Reynolds.
Shoot.
I don't know if you want me to do it retroactively. Just go out and do it and check again.
Nah, you got 4 hits.
I wanted to find out who runs meth in the city in terms of who handles distribution of meth as opposed to who cooks it.
You get a name, but they don't have much more information. La puta madre.
The reason why is that frequently, if somebody is a distributor, and they are not going to like the people who are cooking their own crap.
Do you think La puta madre is going to break his back to deal with 10 guys working out of an apartment basement?
Sure. Okay.
Possible.
I mean, if you really put a bug in Madre's ear, maybe.
Well, apparently, they cut their product with something bad.
That doesn't surprise me. They're trying to stretch out their product as much as they can.
God damn it, Disco Elysium. La puta madre, the fucking mother.
Or like the
Mama también.
the whore mother.
Either or.
Probably not someone that we want to talk to.
I doubt you'd be able to get an audience with her.
Goodness, no.
Most likely, Easter and I could infiltrate one or the other of the gangs by presenting ourselves as prostitutes or just general drug addicts. Fairly simple. Not so easy for men.
No. No, the Scorpions especially sound like a hyper-masculine bunch.
They both drink deeply of the toxic masculinity well.
I look over Easter carefully. You don't look like a whore.
Not one you could afford. And I know that you can handle your own, but I'm not too eager about the idea of getting in there on my own and not being able to get out when shit starts flying.
Yes, that's the reason why I was revising that thought.
Hmm.
I guess another question is, do we want to hit these places one at a time or simultaneously?
Multi-track drifting.
We don't have the resources to hit them both simultaneously.
And before you suggest it, Holmes, no, I do not know how to build a bomb.
Handy.
Why would he?
Bombs are one of the few things that attract interest in cities. Many criminal activities go completely unnoticed, but explosions do not.
Yeah, if any of these buildings get lit on fire or explode, someone might be on the hook for arson.
To be fair, we could blow up the meth lab and people would just assume it was meth. But we probably don't want to do that because of collateral.
Yeah,
Yes.
too much collateral.
I was about to say, what's you know what? Let me just look up what the sin rating for arson is.
Yusuf kind of smirks to Easter.
I'm pretty sure my get them to kill each other is going to qualify as less.
I think it depends on whether or not innocents get caught up in it. If you accidentally kill innocents or don't care that you kill innocents, those are probably higher than just setting a fire.
Yeah.
I think if they lure them underground and then they, bullets don't stray too far then.
If you blew up the Scorpion's meth lab and the building along with it, there would be a morality 3 sin.
Ooh. How many points would he lose for that?
Well, it depends on how well you roll to resist degeneration. So let us assume you had a morality of 7. You would have to make 4 rolls, 3, 3, 3, and then 2 dice. And for every roll that you failed, you would drop a morality. And for every roll you dropped a morality, you would roll the number of morality on that bar. And then if you succeed, you don't get a degeneration. And if you fail, you do.
What is 3? Why 332? Why those numbers?
Each sin has an according number of dice you get to roll to resist degeneration altogether. A morality 6, 5, and 4 sin is 3 dice, and 3, 2, and 1 are 2 dice.
Got it.
And then 7 and 8 sins are 4, and 9 and 10 sins are 5. So you can perform selfish acts at 10 morality, and you get 5 dice to resist dropping a morality.
Right. I don't think we should go that route necessarily.
So yeah, arson would be a morality 5 sin, but planning on blowing up the meth lab with all of the people inside, that counts as murder. Quite possibly a morality 2 sin, casual callous crime, serial murder. Yeah, I blew up 30 people. I don't give a fuck. I did what I needed to do to get the job done.
That actually Stan had to go.
And of course, morality 1 is utter perversion, incredibly heinous acts. Mass murder is the cited example, but it is difficult to get down to one morality. Just because, like, what do you have to do?
Well, probably the people Alex hunts qualify. So
Like, what do you
when you
have
think
to
about
do?
it,
Kiss the severed head of John the Baptist? Like, at that point, you have to be trying.
Have to be like cannibalism or like
Nah, cannibalism.
torturing children,
Torturing children might be a 1.
like eating a baby.
anyone who ships people in cargo canisters where there's a certain amount of spoilage for transportation, I think
Ooh.
Ooh,
it
pretty
is
nasty.
pretty. Yeah,
I think that's only 2. That's the thing. Getting from 2 to 1, that's the hard. And then from 1 to 0 is similarly difficult.
It's all about that challenge.
It's about to say, at that point, you're trying real hard. But that being said, once you get down to 3 morality, there's a lot you can do without recourse.
So you're saying dip down and then go for the immunity.
no, that's not what we're saying.
No, just rip off the morality band-aid. It's fine. Yeah, I know I just talk to myself and I, think I'm a glass of orange juice every once in a while, but nothing to worry about. NBD, I know I can't use my virtue or vice to get willpower back anymore, but this is fine.
What do you do instead?
Oh, you don't?
You just don't have willpower anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
what?
Well, no.
You've lost the will to live.
There comes a certain point where the only way you can restore willpower is by indulging in your derangements instead.
Oh.
I think if you get 3 derangements, you toss your virtue and vice altogether, and at that point, you're just sort of too crazy to keep those things in focus.
Fair enough.
At which point, you can actually regain willpower by not being able to use willpower. In the case of depression and melancholia.
You know who would be a really interesting character to stat for the World of Darkness? John Doe from 7.
John Doe from 7 is a maniac slasher. Don't ask me why I know that. No reason.
Actually, I think I remember seeing that too when I was looking at the slashers. But yeah, he'd be interesting.
Thankfully, slashers won't appear in this game, right? Right, yeah.
Can I post a fucked up meme?
You may certainly post a fucking
Yeah,
meme.
sure.
Go for it. Where did that go? There it is.
That world for 7 definitely was very much World of Darkness
Yes, definitely.
in terms of like the environment.
Environment, police response.
Virtues and vices too.
Oh,
that's just
God.
right.
That you were so right.
I told you it was fucked up.
What's that movie with Nicolas Cage as a gun merchant?
Oh, jeez.
Merchant of Death.
The Lords of War.
Lords of War.
Lords of War.
Because I remember there's a line from Lords of War where he's talking about the AK-47 and he's just like, I love this gun. And he's just like, it can be wielded by just about anyone. Like, there's a very witty line about like, even a kid can wield it. And they do.
Yep.
Don't worry, I got you.
Oh my God. Oh, there it is. We got there.
And the reason why that came up is because, while you're talking, Yusuf is looking up Illinois-specific gun laws.
This is important.
Well, if we want to arm ourselves better legitimately, there's a 72-hour hold before we are able to actually acquire the gun. Automatic firearms, sawed-off shotguns, and silencers are prohibited from any sale.
That is just a beautiful movie.
What was Yusuf saying about 72-hour hold? I kind of missed the beginning of that.
He's talking about purchasing firearms legitimately.
Ah, I see.
So
As soon as you said legitimately, Alex lost interest.
So-
Yes.
I just sent that meme to John, and he goes, "Wow, that meme came back to me within seconds."
Since there's a conversation I'm not a part of.
Nope. I'm just reading about how maniacs work and the delightful elegance with which they kill.
I don't like those words in
If we
conjunction.
I like those words because I have a sneaking suspicion of things you are planning, and boy, I can't wait to get there.
What, Steve? I don't know what you're talking about.
the
We're
the
going
early
dark.
early morning hours, maybe 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, more towards 3 or 4 actually, tend to be good for these types of activities. It minimizes the people who are out and about. Most people are home in their beds. Even gang members don't tend to be up routinely at those hours.
I agree.
So maybe we want an ambush. And ambush
our
always
best
strikes me as a good approach.
I think that's our best option.
So what's the plan, folks?
The question is, which one do we deal with first? Personally,
It's better armed.
apparently the Scorpions, at least, they probably have a weapon that could hurt me a little bit.
We'll probably just run right through them. The rest of us not so bulletproof.
We're not bulletproof.
Like an action movie.
I think hitting the Scorpions first is a good idea.
Just be careful if you get in the lab. You don't want to accidentally blow the place up.
I think it might be a good idea if we hit the Scorpions first, then the boys in blue are occupied there, and then we can do our job with the Jackals.
It sounds like the best plan.
Oh, I should have pictures coming in for the whole gang. That way we can make sure we get them all.
Oh, yes. You get
Very good.
You get images of Lamar, Oswald, and Bastien, as well as all the other gang members.
Perfect. We know exactly who they are.
Right. They all have small time rap sheets. They've been like some of them have been arrested, but none of them went away for more than a year. They cut plea deals, stuff like that.
I wonder if any of them would find a large black dog particularly compelling.
Hey, we should bring this in. It's so cuddly.
Woof.
Wish this green tea would kick in.
What'd you say?
I said I wish this green tea would kick in.
Ah. Are you that
That's
that Onion headline? Relaxing tea better fucking work.
Question for you, Reynold.
Shoot.
If I were to put in an order from the advanced armory, how long would it take to get here?
Depends on what you're ordering.
That's a good question. Let's see. Give me 60 seconds.
At that point, it's mostly about the size of the object.
Stinger missile?
Yeah, that's probably going to take a day for it to arrive quietly. But if you wanted, like, a box of etheric rounds, they could drone drop that to you.
Yeah, I just wanted some, actually mundane ammunition, so I just don't have to go to a gun store.
No problem.
Wanted some hollow points.
They can absolutely make that happen.
Wonderful. It pays to have 2 dots in your endowments.
Hey.
Attaboy.
Now delivered by drone.
You put in an order on your handy dandy Task Force Valkyrie phone app. On your handy dandy Task Force Valkyrie Mega Security phone. It's always in incognito mode.
Easter looks at it and goes, Jesus, is that a Nokia from, like, the late 90s?
User flips it open, and it's actually a case for a smartphone.
I'm gonna try one more thing before we settle on this. I'm not sure how to go about it because again, this stuff is very vague for her. But if there happen to be any spirits that have a particular interest in either of these two, I'd be curious to hear from them, and if they have any advice to offer. In this case, this might be Alex walking the streets, in a certain, following her instincts, and having conversations with people who might very well be dead. Not sure if my level of spirit allows for this or not, but that, This is a sort of an extrapolation of her streetwise, where she just talks to the dead homeless people.
No, you don't find the spirit of a man. You find something a little more esoteric.
Is it the spirit that lies between the two groups, or the spirit between between Sphinx and them?
That's an interesting question. It's not a spirit. It's a demon.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's gonna be fun.
Oh boy.
As you walk the city streets, this place is marked. But that's all you know. Your powers are nascent. But you can smell it in the air. There's something here that's not from around here.
And it's taken the people and probably both sides, and I'm getting a Day of the Dove vibe.
Tell me more about the Day of the Dove.
Oh, classic Next, the classic original series Star Trek. Klingons on board the Enterprise. Strange entity also on board, feeding off the rage and anger of the crew and the Klingons, and essentially regenerating them to keep them alive.
That is exactly what's going on. But this demon is much smaller.
Okay, so we found the real target.
Not necessarily. Even if you take care of the demon, do you think Sphinx will be satisfied?
I think
Might-
that if we take care of the demon, Sphinx will be jealous.
I honestly think this is kind of a riddle. What's the actual
Assuming
problem?
that he is not the one behind the demon himself. We don't know how much he knows. He implies that he doesn't know much about our world, but it seems like he knows much more than he implies.
Yeah, I don't believe that for a second.
But
there is something wrong in that neighborhood. Something that's twisted what's already there. I've sensed this before in places. Much worse. I mean, so Alex has probably felt things like this in the past, but bigger.
Oh yes. Well, not necessarily. So there are rating 1 demons, 2 demons, and 3 demons. 1 demons are usually lesser demons that cannot take a humanoid form and have very specific rules. They're generally more nuisances than anything. The rule book uses the example bed shaker. It's a little lust demon that can enter any room that doesn't have a holy text in it. Rating 2 demons generally take human shapes, and once again, the more powerful a demon is, the more rules it has. But also the larger its field of influence. Like, a rating 1 demon can't exist on the material plane for very long at all. A rating 2 demon can exist on the material plane indefinitely. And a rating 3 demon can only take physical form for a very brief amount of time, but its influence is vast. You're dealing with what seems to be either a particularly potent rating 1 or a particularly weak rating 3.
Oh.
Because this thing, it's not making this happen. It seems much more like
Pushing and twisting.
Yeah, like a producer on a reality television show.
Mojo.
Exactly.
Just think of that.
Okay. Well, this is more our job, I'd say. Instead, whether he intended to point us in this direction or not, this is something that we should fix.
Is this the blight?
That's a good question.
Even if it's not.
It is a blight, certainly, whether it's the one he identified or not.
Oh, gracious.
Well, that means I need to load this magazine with something different.
Oh, yes.
You cowered before me, and I was frightening.
Is there anything that I can do to make material weapons more effective against demons if it becomes necessary?
This isn't a demon you're going to be able to kill with bullets.
What about Ethan Claus?
No, not that either.
Just checking. It's worth noting werewolves are good at this stuff. Okay.
This isn't a demon that you can harm with weapons. This is a demon that you can only harm with attitude.
I got that in spades.
The only thing that
A good
worries me
attitude.
is that by killing them, we might feed the demon. We might starve it subsequently, but the death itself may make it stronger.
What was the title of the demon, Alex?
Animosity.
Can you bring yourself to kill these people without animosity?
That's the reason why she made her comment.
Let's see.
So it's a bit of a riddle.
There are lesser demons, greater demons, and then elder demons.
The lesser demon, yes. For my notes.
This thing is strange. Oh god. Like either it's very strange. It's not physical, but neither is it powerful.
It's a miasma.
It's a miasma. So
It's consuming, but it's not like it covers a large territory, but it's not overwhelming. It's just noxious.
right, because like the elder demon description that they use is the neighborhood. And it is fucking terrifying.
Oh no.
The neighborhood is the embodiment of classic urban and suburban fears. A place claustrophobically familiar, yet detached and anonymous enough that victimization carries no consequence. This is the setting of Hitchcock's Rear Window, or the quiet street where Kitty Genovese was murdered. All the familiar signals of safety are here. Friendly neighbors, well-lit streets, regular police patrols. Where they serve any purpose, though, it's to maintain the quiet of the neighborhood. Someone may hear you scream, but no one will come to your rescue.
Fuck me, dude.
Note that the neighborhood does not hate its residents. If anything, it loves them. Loves them and their covetous urges so well it won't let them get caught. In every room, from every window, it watches and shelters and mothers their jealous, conniving hearts.
Well, it's pleasant.
So, like, that's the kind of entity or influence you're dealing with.
But on a smaller scale.
I'm about to say it's much smaller. It's only around for a few blocks. Like the neighborhood is an entire neighborhood. So it may be a weakened elder demon. It may be a tendril of an elder demon. It might be a greater demon trying to up its ante. Or it may be a series of lesser demons performing a slew of ill-natured pranks. But there is a demonic energy there, and it calls itself animosity.
Well, what's the opposite of animosity? Friendship, correct?
I would say so.
Yes.
Friendship, generosity,
Trust.
grace, trust.
Could you imagine
Animosity
the Scorpions
is-
and Jackals forming kinship?
I mean, they have different goals and pursuits.
But animosity is a simmering rage, correct? A hatred that exists but below the surface that does not usually take action. It's the it's not that direct. Right?
No, but it motivates almost all other actions. Or can. Glad that you were able to sense this. Otherwise, we would have had no idea.
Well, if I didn't sense it, we may have simply gone, killed them, and not realized what we left behind. And perhaps that is what Sphinx intended.
The territory of this animosity covers the same areas the jackals and scorpions control.
Yes.
If we have time, I could look into a way to try and sanctify those grounds.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, send a
Now-
prime seems a good option.
At the risk of sounding overly paranoid,
No such thing.
what are the chances that Sphinx and Animosity are working together?
It was my concern as well. Or that he intended to feed animosity for some reason of his own.
Or he knew it was there and it's part of his test.
This was a riddle and we've solved it.
Not yet.
All of these things
No.
are possibilities.
We've simply heard more of the riddle. We don't know if we know all of it yet. What he told us to do was very simple.
Those weren't instructions, they were a riddle.
Yes. And I'm not sure if we've worked out all of the riddle yet.
I really can't think of a reason why we shouldn't get rid of the demon.
I should get rid of the demon.
I'm not sure how you go about doing that. It's very nebulous.
It's certainly above my pay grade. Not that I'm not willing to pitch in,
Well,
but
it's
I've
not.
never done anything like that.
It's
Reach
not
out to
powerful,
Noel.
but it's not. It's there's no focus to it. It's a at least that I was able to determine. I'm not good at this.
We
But-
might need to do something to get it to take form and then slay the form.
That's something you can do.
It'd be nice if we could do something that would be positive in the neighborhood. A block party, but unfortunately that creates bad opportunities as well as good ones.
Or you have to feed it to pull it out. I've rarely seen it done where. Actually, no, I have seen it done in movies and such where attacking it at a certain point can pull it. But it's going to be real angry.
I just realized what the opposite of animosity is.
What is it?
Mercy. Forgiveness.
Now that makes sense.
If you know what to do with that would be helpful. Like, I don't know how to use mercy to fight a demon and to remove a pair of gangs.
Unfortunately, everything you're talking about takes time.
Yep.
And unfortunately, all of your groups have the least experience with demons.
Good news is we get to write documents about it.
True. The task force Valkyrie, they do have notes on how to make a demon take material form and then destroy it. It's their only method of dealing with demons, and casualty reports are high. There's a lot of retirement requests that come after that.
Can I contact anyone in the Raiders to see if they have any expertise?
Demons are one of the few things that Amir is genuinely afraid of. Like, because they're one of the few supernatural forces that cannot be negotiated with, and if you are negotiating with them, it's part of their plan. He tried integrating demons into Kali's Raiders, and every single time it has failed.
Seems like a hideously bad idea.
It was a hideously bad idea. Like, he realized what the real monsters are.
I mean,
and they go by names.
Sometimes the mirror is a bit of a bleeding heart, I gotta say.
That is his thing, yes. What a shame. To avenge a murder, you committed a murder. A great injustice. Yeah, he had a little run-in with Mr. White. But yes, the two demons that he's worked with both stabbed him in the back.
Literally?
One literally, yes.
Do you have any weapons? Looking at Yusuf, do you have any weapons that are to incapacitate?
I could put in order for tranquilizer rounds.
We also look into holy water.
It's never a bad idea to have holy water. That being said, none of you is going to be, oh, the Raiders might be able to get some holy water. You keep trying to tell the Mysteries boys that there's something to this holy water, but they do not care.
I think it's water. It's wet. Got some in the water cooler down the hall. What's the big deal?
That's the question. Can you bless a fountain and have it work?
Only if you are... No, not if you're a priest. You need to have a higher holy rank than that.
Oh. Wow. Good to know.
A saint can bless the stream.
Only for a little while. It's not the whole stream. It's just a patch. They don't want to admit
You try sanctifying the whole area.
Can everybody send me your vice?
Oh boy.
Rather not.
You gotta. Deus Volt.
Away.
So far, they haven't done anything that's earned my wrath, and my virtual is justice. So I haven't been convinced that it's just to massacre them yet.
Admittedly, the massacre thing may have to be on hold. As much as I like the idea, it doesn't hold up with what we're doing. The bigger picture and all.
Yep. Oh, it's an under meme. Sorry.
That's fine. You were ordered to remove the blight It seems as if the blight runs deeper than you could have imagined.
And it's very subtle. The cop guy didn't notice it.
Oh no, you wouldn't notice something like this.
I don't like the idea of giving the demon enough power to manifest itself into a form, but that's the only method to physically fight it that the task force knows.
Like, who'd have thought that racist meth heads and some black dudes would want to kill each other? Who'd have thought? Do you even need a demon involved? Then again, how long has it been there?
Good question.
I mean, the low-hanging fruit is the sweetest.
So sweet. I've got to use the bathroom. Negotiate amongst yourselves.
Oh, I'll be right back as well.
The Scorpion Gang is a blight on the streets that only the Jackals match. Get rid of them both. Remove the blight. Is it in the original mail?
Yes.
Was the blight small case? The gang is a blight, and only the Jackals match. Remove them both. Remove the blight capital. Does Sphinx seem like someone who would do that accidentally?
It was a little bit difficult to tell. It was all letters cut out of magazines, but it does seem deliberate. I wouldn't put it past him to make it deliberate. So if we look at it that way, then it sounds... Does he want us to do all three?
Well, get rid of is a... Get rid of does not imply death,
No.
except in certain circles.
If the demon's confined to one key area, if we make the gangs leave, would it weaken the demon's hold? If they didn't have anything to feed off?
Well, animosity is something that exists beneath the surface of everything. So I'm sure the gangs feed him more strongly than the sort of petty squabbles that neighbors typically have, but those will always be there. So I'm not sure if there's a way of immediately starving the demon just by moving them.
No, I don't think that we can afford to wait long enough to starve it out. If that's possible.
Unfortunately, every decent solution you have relies on time.
Yep.
If killing a demon was the only thing that I was here to do, then I would be willing to take a slower method, but it's not. We have kidnapped people to try and save, and
Agreed. That's the reason why I was entertaining killing them to begin with. It's not optimal, but it's something we need to do.
I don't like the idea either.
Somebody give me an intelligence and occult roll.
Yes, please.
Alex is so good at this one. Actually, she's not terrible at it.
Three.
I rolled 2 10s on my 3 dice. Okay, still just 2 successes.
Okay. Yusef, this thing planted a seed. The seed has sprouted, and the tree is beginning to bear fruit. even if you killed the hand, even if you cut off the hand that dropped the seed, that won't destroy that won't stop the tree from growing. If you cut off the hand, it would prevent it from harvesting. But destroying the tree would do the same thing.
But destroying the tree will feed animosity, won't it?
Yes, the
Well-
hand will have to drop another seed, and it will have to grow another tree. Still, what I'm trying to express is that if you do destroy, if you do banish animosity, it may
It doesn't solve the other problem.
Yeah. It means you get to you get to declare yourself brave, stalwart hero of the land, having banished a demon and saved that neighborhood once and for all. But you need to destroy the tree that bears the bitter fruit as well.
The problems are mutually exclusive at this point.
Exactly. They both operate independently of each other.
That's a very important point. I'll share that insight with Alex as we're trying to figure out what the fuck to do.
Oops! Things got complicated.
I don't like leaving things half finished. But
Animosity is not hatred per se. It's Alex wouldn't use per se. It's different, isn't it? It's the petty hatreds of past slights and wrongs.
it's
The simmering rage below the surface.
that's the thing. These gangs have reached a level of power from this animosity. It is a slow burn. It will take it a while for another thing to become its pet project.
Well,
We focus
then
on
I
the
guess
we hope that the demon isn't powerful enough to stop us.
if it wants to. Well, then let us deal with the scorpions.
Yusuf looks incredibly uncomfortable talking so flippantly about killing like 30 people in the next 12 hours.
Let me get that Hotline
Well-
Miami gif.
Just to let you know, the
If
boss,
you know a way of removing them without killing them, please share.
I don't.
I am back. Sorry, had to take care of my folks for a bit.
No, the only thing that I can think of to get them removed, air quotes, would be for them to be arrested, but the police aren't going to do that. I wouldn't trust them to do that.
I mean, consider what animosity would do.
Precisely, if they enter that space, it's not going to help.
Might end in a gunfight.
It will end in a gunfight. There will already be guns out in this hypothetical scenario.
Yusuf, I have a simple question for you.
Yes?
I'm sorry, I couldn't stop myself.
No, it's fine. That's a really good question, and it's one that's gonna sit there and fester.
Don't mind me, let me just drop this here. I don't like this. Yep.
So, as far as planning the assault goes, I can go in first as a wolf. Seem like a dog, stray dog in the neighborhood. See
Scope the
if yes, see if there are any guards outside the building. Given how small these groups are, it's possible they have very little security, but it's also possible that they are paranoid, since they have enemies right down the street from them.
Don't mind me. I'm just drinking some 5-year-old Di Serono.
God, why?
I was on the shelf. I was tired of looking at it.
5-year-old what?
Di Serono.
Serrano.
I don't even
Amaretto.
know that.
Oh, it's very sweet.
I'm
Should
assuming some sort of booze.
yes,
Yes.
it's almond liqueur.
Oh.
In the spirit of that, tonight I should probably smoke that joint that's been sitting by my bed for like a year.
Everyone, do your old drugs. It's time. Stop having item paralysis.
I'm out of mana. We'll use an ether. Well, I can't buy those in shops. You have 80 of them. Yeah, but what if I run out? This is the final boss.
Too good to use, man. Too good to use.
Yeah, it's true. I actually bought this great bottle of wine from when I was in Sonoma, and it was called Agape. It was this delicious, sweet dessert wine, and I had tasted it, and it was like fantastic. And then I didn't want to open it for a long time, and so I ended up going like 2 or 3 years without opening it. So it was kind of a little off. You know, it had lost some of its flavor by the time I actually got around to it. It was still good, but not like the liquid gold it was when I had it the first time.
Oh man, that reminds me. We have a few bottles of Moscato in our wine cabinet.
Not to mention that's a fantastic name for a bottle of wine, Agape.
Agape.
Yeah.
Making me want to drink.
Yeah.
How dare you? I could just go down and get something, but nah.
Yeah, I think I've had since the pandemic started. I've had 1 glass of whiskey. That's it.
Yeah. I have a very strict personal rule to not drink when I'm sad.
Oh boy.
So you can imagine that my pandemic alcohol consumption has been cut tremendously.
If I had that rule, pretty much since Donald Trump got elected president, I would be like, wouldn't touched anything.
I break the rules sometimes, but very, very not often.
Tasty beef stew.
Did you hear?
I'm here. I was just muted because I was eating chips.
Okay, fair. I just didn't know if you were like in the middle of something or
Nope, I'm
you
here.
were good to go.
Mm-hmm.
So our plan so far is to knock them out and take them captive.
No,
Have we gone back to murder?
we've gone back to murder, yes. You missed our loop back around. I don't blame you.
The revelation that Yusuf had was essentially that murder isn't going to strengthen the demon all that much, and it won't be able to like just sort of recreate the gangs that have out of nothing. It's essentially it might empower the demon briefly, but it's not necessarily going to result in anything catastrophically negative.
To the best of my
To be
reason,
fair, it may be what pushes it over to the edge into level 2.
and if that's the case, then we'll have something to fight.
At level 2.
Yeah, NBD. It's just a level 2 demon.
Oh, do you not have specialty ammunition?
I have a Grant, N1 Grant, and no special ammo.
Understandable.
Task Force Valkyrie Aetheric rounds only fire from Task Force Valkyrie ID tagged guns.
Yes, that's not going to help you.
You have an RFID chip installed in your body, and the salts in your body are a conveyance mechanism that go to your special Task Force Valkyrie gun, which allow you to fire it, and it allows you to use special Task Force Valkyrie ammunition. That being said, if someone steals your gun and tries to shoot you with it, it won't fire.
Would have picked up silver bullets, given the occupation I'm in, and I probably would have cut crosses into them.
Which has the added benefit of having them act like hollow points.
Yep.
There's no evidence to suggest that that's helpful, but it can't hurt.
Every little bit, man. Every little bit.
I suppose
You
it
get
really
a couple
comes
badass
down
points if nothing else.
to the strength of your conviction.
Laser rounds might be wise too, if you are using a gun.
Incendiary rounds? Yeah, that'd be nice.
No, glazer rounds.
Glazer, I don't know that term.
Essentially, they're rounds they're very messy, but they also don't go through walls.
Okay.
They're considered safety bullets.
I doubt the silver bullet will go through a wall, honestly. Silver is not that hard a substance.
No.
Neither is lead.
Fair enough.
This is all true. But it is bad for you.
So are most things that penetrate your body.
Also true.
So,
Alex blinked slightly at that one.
about to say, Alex, you've never been penetrated by a bullet.
That was not the joke.
As far as you're concerned, bullets are things that bounce off your body and are very upsetting.
Bullets are things that happen to other people.
Yes.
I got punched really hard by little objects.
All I gotta say is, while I know I have the sort of damage reduction stuff, it doesn't take a whole lot for bashing damage to go into lethal damage.
No,
So-
it doesn't.
Oh, that's messed up. That is
So-
a messed up bullet.
I mean, slightly, but it's a small pellet with smaller pellets. It's essentially like a tiny bullet stuffed with birdshot.
It's
Instead.
like, what are they called? A claymore.
Sort of?
Yeah, but it's very tiny.
Inside.
I'm about to say, I don't think
Yeah.
a bullet would break apart in someone's body, or does it?
It does.
It kinda does.
It's very messy.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah, bullets do that in general. That's why they have pieces they pull out.
No. I mean, Glazer is very lethal. It's just not very penetrative.
Right.
So
Which means it's great for, an urban... It's great for a target-rich environment.
Specifically, they're fragile bullets, which are designed to disintegrate into tiny particles upon target impact.
Oh, that's nasty. Those are killers.
Yep.
Yes.
Gets the
they're
job
not,
done.
they're not killing the kid in the next apartment. Is the point?
That's also true.
Damn.
That's also true.
That's also true.
That's what people say.
If you think someone's wearing body armor, though, make sure to shoot them in the head.
Yeah, my accuracy ain't that grand.
Shut up, Holmes.
That's why you're bringing me.
I'm Mr. Solve It, not Mr. Shoot It.
That's true. Oh, I thought you were making a pun by describing your accuracy as not grand.
It's not grand. And then we all pulled out our guns and shot Holmes for the terror. Roll a new character. Thank you.
My condolences.
Well played.
But yes, y'all want to head by the safe house and pick up your gubbins if you've ordered any gubbins?
I ordered gubbins.
Who
Cold
ordered
water
the
and silver
gubbins?
bullets.
I
Almost like
ordered.
I'm werewolf hunting.
You see,
Um,
I turned useless junk into other useless junk.
by the way, does crossbow use firearms or is it using athletics?
A crossbow
Firearms.
uses weaponry or firearms, whichever you prefer.
Oh,
Nice.
Interesting.
And a crossbow has the benefits of... Crossbows break a lot of rules. Simply
They're
because of
silent.
the... Right, number one, they're silent. Number two, like, there's the sheer mass of the projectile, which allows it to do lethal damage to, like, vampires. And it depends on the type of armor someone is using, but in some situations, crossbows will ignore certain types of armor.
That's
Not
100%
expecting a
correct.
crossbow.
Like plate armor, nope, that shit's good against a crossbow. An armored jacket, pretty good against a crossbow. A flak jacket, actually, that shit'll just plunge right through.
Yep. It's designed to stop rocks, not needles.
Exactly.
well, Alex does have a crossbow, so that's the.
That's so fucking badass, Dave. I didn't know that.
If I had realized I could use weaponry, I probably would have had my firearms be 0 and weaponry 2. Oh well.
Eh.
It'll
Flare
come in
gun is
handy.
a firearm.
It would make
Never
sense
know.
for her to know how to use a handgun under certain circumstances. So yeah.
Right.
I acquire a flare gun. Those things are super handy.
Hey, everything hates fire except demons. Actually immune to fire.
Ah! Son of a...
Although, if you run into one of those, you probably have bigger problems.
Still worth a backup thing just in case they're using some sort of item.
The last
That
time
burns.
my players encountered a demon, one of them was a chemist who had a like special. It wasn't thermite. It was something else that like burned hot, and he like threw it at the demon, and they just caught it in their hand and threw it back at him.
Oh! Nice.
It was like a copper ball that was burning red hot that he took out of a little thermos that was hooked up to like a car battery or something, and he had like gloves and a box to carry it in, and just chucked it at them, and they picked it up, and they were like, "What? Nani?" And they ended up taking like 2 aggravated from having a copper ball thrown at them.
Nice.
It's so mean. I love it.
So what's the plan? Get in the 4chan party van, drive up to the jackals, kill everyone, go over a neighborhood and kill all of the scorpions, and then fucking go to the center, conflicts between the two, apparate the animosity demon, and then kill it?
Yeah. But we'll
Got
worry
dark
about
after I
step
left.
3 when we accomplish the first 2.
Do you want any friends, or do you think the 4 of you can handle it?
I mean, friends would be great, but we can't go to the Fae.
You cannot go to the Fae, but you might be able to get some vampires in on this.
Yeah.
Free blood.
I was about to say, the only way you're going to be able to entice any of these people is with the promise of free blood.
Yeah. Reach out to the Sea Collective. I may reach out to the Sea Collective and see if any of their either their identities or their friends would like to party for the evening
Interesting.
at a local Chicago all-you-can-eat.
Do you send correspondence?
I do.
Tell me what you write in your letter.
Dun dun.
I love having a designated courier. I love
Me
this.
too.
You guys don't understand how much I love my dear sweet Ivan Poktalon. Fun fact, Poktalon is Russian for mailman.
I love that.
The Russian mailman.
Ivan's been around for a good long time. At this point, he's got to be 80 years old.
He's well preserved, but vodka does that to you.
Vodka does do that to you. Also, I calculated it. He can swim across the Atlantic Ocean, but only between Cape Town and Brazil, I think. Like, he can only do it at the point at which between the ocean is smallest.
What is this based on? His athletic?
It's based on his endurance. Between his stamina score, his iron endurance points, and the points he has in special Promethean abilities.
Who's a Promethean?
Oh, yes, Alex, you would know that. That's why he does not like to be seen, and that explains the sensation that you all are feeling whenever you run into him.
Is he one of the monster types? Frankenstein monster types?
Yes. Well, all of the Prometheans are Frankenstein monsters. He's not.
Well,
Right,
there's-
he's not a literal Frankenstein.
yeah. I forget what that group's called, but there were sirens, which are sort of like the
super beautiful ones.
The Galateans.
Galatans.
Galatans, the ones made from.
There's the Wretched,
Wow.
the Golems, the Galatiads, the Osirans, and the Ulgans.
Wretched is the stitched
Mm.
together.
Yeah, the Shelley types.
Yes. You're not sure which type Ivan is. It's unclear, but considering his age, it could really be any of them. Although, considering his spiritual pursuits, he definitely leans towards Osiran or Ulgan. Not so much. Maybe a Golem, probably not a Wretched or a Galatiad. He's definitely not pretty enough to be a Galatiad. Nor does he have the anger of a Wretched.
I have posted my letter in the in-game chat.
Nice.
She
I fully
has.
approve.
She has also given it her customary little spritz of perfume.
Who are you sending this one to? Sea Collective?
Yeah,
Yep, the Sea Collective.
What is that?
the sheriff.
That's what they call themselves as a whole.
This seems a bit of overkill, but okay.
Lower
I
the
can't
power
turn into a
level.
wolf.
Right. Also, lower the power level for all of the supernatural creatures. Like, the sheriff has 3 blood potency. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Has a maybe 1 discipline at 4 dots, another one at 2. The prince might have 2, 1 at 5, and another 2 at like 3.
So no Baba Yagas.
No Baba Yagas, no Methuselahs. No. But, like, I mean, consider how powerful a blood potency 5 vampire is, and that's why he gets to be in charge.
It reminds me of Spike's opening line from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. in which there's a big old vampire claiming to be ancient and powerful, and Spike comes in saying, if every vampire who claimed he was at the crucifixion was actually there, it would have been like Woodstock. Woodstock, actually. And I ate a flower person, and then he like trails off and then slaughters everybody. But,
That was a great intro, yeah.
yeah.
Personally, my favorite line from him was when he called the Anointed One the annoying one, put him in a cage, and exposed him to sunlight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's like, he was, all right, I'm going to bow the knee again. Nah, I'm just going to kill this little creepy kid.
God, I miss Spike.
There's something a little wholesome about Spike's evil.
Right? It was just like, it was
It had none of
reliable evil.
Had none of that sort of creepy, stalkery stuff that like sadistic cat and mouse games like Angelus.
Right, exactly. Like, he was the Captain Jack Sparrow, a dishonest man you can always trust to be dishonest.
He finds out the chip doesn't work on Buffy anymore.
Well, you kind of knew where Spike stood when he, in like the season 2 finale, where he pretty much just, like says, "I don't really like this apocalypse stuff."
Yep.
Some bloke comes along and says, "Let's end the world." No, I can't do Spike imitations.
It's like that's where I keep my stuff.
That's where my stuff is.
Nope. No more fish and chips. No more Piccadilly Circus.
But yes, you have acquired one vampiric sheriff.
Fantastic.
And 1, ghoul for stragglers.
That's true.
Oh, that's the in-game chat.
There's a channel for everything here.
Yay!
Just to forewarn you, we're limited to 500.
Oh no!
First come, first serve.
Baby Jesus, I can't imagine getting to 500 channels.
My Marvel roleplay server has routinely run into hitting over 500 channels.
I'm not surprised, you fuckers.
We have to archive our writing twice a month.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
What kind of server is that?
It's one that I am a mod on and incredibly proud of.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a 25 plus highly literate Marvel prose roleplay server featuring basically every Marvel character that has ever made an appearance in any movie and a good number of the comic characters. And yeah, we've been running for over a year now.
Do you have to pick one from the lore?
Yep. Yeah, it has to be a canon character.
Okay.
But it can be like minor characters and stuff.
Man, the only minor characters I know about are from DC.
Right?
Yeah.
Every once in a while I'm like, maybe I'll pick up a fourth character. The other day I was like, Constantine is
Wait.
hold on.
Yeah, but there's usually a rip-off character in Marvel who is
It's
the
true,
twin
it's
of
true.
the DC. So you can usually find it. It's just a matter of sort of searching through the lore, because it for instance, in the case of Superman, you've got like at least 5 Superman clones that have been probably more that have been
Yeah,
that Marvel has had.
Probably the most accurate being Wonder Man. I wish I was fucking with you.
Sadly, I don't think there's a Marvel equivalent of The Question. Who is definitely my favorite B-list, C-list, D-list.
Oh, the
superhero.
question is definitely C or D list.
Oh yeah.
But you're right. I don't know that there is a Marvel equivalent to that character.
Just remember, there's been like 70 years of lore, give or take, so it's possible.
True.
It's true. We may yet find the question.
Still,
Yeah.
I prefer to consider the question as an entity who does have superpowers. He is capable of seeing connections that others cannot.
Yeah.
I believe that, honestly.
And that is what makes him truly the world's greatest detective. Sit down, Bruce. Let me show you what's what.
Yeah, he's a few steps above.
Fucking
There was a TV series that from probably the 80s or early 90s, Ronaldo, you might have, I think it was 80s. It was called Connections, which was like exploring historical phenomenon by going through all the weird events that led up to them.
Oh yeah, I've heard
That
about that
sounds
one.
really cool. Was it fictional or like a documentary?
It was a sort of documentary series, yeah.
Cool.
Let me see if that's really the name or if I'm misremembering.
I think I've heard Connections. I never watched it, but I heard it was about figuring out why certain things happened historically and the little things that resulted in it.
Connection 10-episode documentary series, 1978 book. Yeah, science historian James Burke. Series produced, directed.
Also,
Wow, 1978. Oh my god, it's older than I thought it was.
Oh, baby Jesus.
I'm old. I'm so old.
Also, I would just like to note that I made all this shit up off the top of my head. Like, I didn't realize that the Sphinx, jackals, and scorpions were all Egyptian.
I mean, that made perfect sense to me.
Right? I was like, yeah, that tracks. It's thematically appropriate.
Right?
It
That
works.
I just need you guys to understand how often this happens to me.
Well, I mean, retroactive continuity is a thing.
It is.
Right? Absolutely.
As long as you don't actually contradict things that I hate retconning where you are literally lying, but you just hadn't filled in that space yet.
Right.
That didn't mean it wasn't already there. It's like it was in the fog of war.
They didn't
That's a great
not
way to
run
put it.
into Tom Bombadil. You just didn't see it on film.
It's very true.
Can you
I have
prove
to
to
see
me
if I
that
can if
Tom
I can see
Bombadil wasn't
connections.
in the Lord of the Rings?
The question is, do they have the daggers they got from the hill with Tom Bombadil? Because if they have those, it totally happened.
Sadly, they do not.
No, those are given to them by Aragorn.
Aragorn just has a bunch of spare swords lying around.
Which, honestly, is a really clean way to do it if they're not going to go that route.
Right.
Yeah.
And I
Also,
mean,
they could have gotten it from the trolls.
And also, to me, served to make Aragorn like a really trustable character because it's like, oh, okay, he's arming these dudes. Like he doesn't want them all to fucking die.
right. Although it's not exactly explained why he leaves Weathertop and then comes back. I mean,
Narrative?
I'm about to say that's just a narrative device. And hey, Tolkien was all about narrative devices. Why does Gandalf have to go off to chase the necromancer? Because you can't have the wizard fucking up the dragon. That's the Hobbit's job.
Yep. It's basically because Gandalf was an NPC in The Hobbit, and he wasn't supposed to fuck around with the player characters.
Right.
Kind of, preempt the player characters,
Exactly.
which he kind of did in the whole goblin kidnapping thing.
But anyway, what are y'all doing tonight? Is it time to go kill some gang members? Do you have any other allies you can call upon?
I think that's all my allies. I don't want to bring my retainer into this.
Oh God, no! Don't! I don't remember her name.
She doesn't deserve that.
No. She can't. No.
That's not what she's for. That is not her job.
I don't think that there's any Task Force Valkyrie people in the area. That's the reason why I'm here.
No, they're mostly in Syria right now.
Yes.
Going down.
Hey, how about those current events?
Oh, they hurt.
What's the sound?
Alex, make a straight wits roll.
All right. Have we left yet?
No.
2.
You do have one operative in the area.
Just the postman, right?
Yes.
Is this something that he would be interested in?
He's a member of Kali's Raiders, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I just assumed he was a sort of non-combatant. I'll send him a message and ask him if he's interested.
What do you write that message out? What you say is important. Ivan is a very particular person. All of a sudden, his credo reverberates in your head: justice, liberty, civility, edification, perfection, the male.
Taking some notes, making sure stuff is in the right place. And
Oh God.
Alex is terse.
I love those 2 letters next to each other.
There's appetite.
There is appetite.
Oh boy.
So, Alex, you write this letter out, and then Ivan just shows up because he has male senses, and he
Very short delivery.
right, like I was about to say, like, he picks it up and then sees who it's addressed to, opens it up, reads it, folds up the letter, folds up the envelope, puts them both into his pocket, and he turns around and just looks at you. And make a willpower roll.
Four.
Goddamn. You look upon him with no animosity. Dear goodness gracious. Like, none of the rest of you have seen him up close, but Alex, you look at him and Jesus Christ, he's a fucking mess. Like, like, regenerative magic and regenerative abilities can only do so much about the weight of 80 years of battle and conflict. His patchwork uniform looks like you can finally see it in its full quote-unquote splendor. It's been stitched together so many times you pity the tailor.
Alex has seen plenty of pretty people who are foul on the inside, so she doesn't give a fuck what people look like.
Do you earnestly call for my assistance? Do the raiders need me?
In truth, I don't know. The gangs shouldn't be a problem. Demon, I don't know.
I'll be in the area. If you need me, sign my name. I will know you need me.
I just nod my head. Thanks.
No problem. I do ask a favor for this service. It may be wrong to demand it so, but I can't lie, there is a desire. I want you to hold me.
Alex looks a little confused. She's slightly tactile defensive at times, but she actually gets over that when she feels someone is in need of comforting. So I think she's probably okay. I mean, she's literally learned to turn that off when she's dealing with people who have been messed up.
You successfully got 4 successes on willpower. You are not disgusted by the disquiet. He removes his uniform and reveals a large, broad, and scarred body. And he holds his arm. He takes a knee and holds his arm open, just awaiting your embrace.
Yeah.
You successfully hug the Promethean.
You've survived much, my friend. And she just, Alex is not hard to read, and it's respect. That's, that is one warrior to another. That's respect.
When you press your head into his chest, there's no beating heart. And he holds the hug maybe a little too long. You know how it is. And then he stops and puts his clothes back on and just says, "I'll be there. Thank you. I needed that." And he goes jogging away.
Alex nods her head and is no thanks. It is a strange world.
Very strange. So you have backup for the demon.
We have backup for the demon, we have backup for the gangs. Oh boy.
So which are you going after? The scorpions or the jackals first?
We're going after the scorpions.
I like the scorpions last.
Exactly.
Jackals will probably be easier.
Oh my god, beautiful. So you guys go to the scorpion territory, and there is a jeep being driven by this man.
So, like I said, I was thinking that we'd go very early morning hours. Is that work with vampires attending?
Thankfully, you happen to be operating with a vampire who's not afraid of the dawn.
Oh.
If you were dealing with Kabuto or Curtis, you might get a little bit of hesitance. If you could have convinced Kabuto, sorry, not Kabuto. If you could have convinced Cortez, he would have been willing to chance it, but you're dealing with Carmen.
Carmen.
So
Carmen.
Ooh.
Wow. Someone is dressed for the party.
And the concierge just has his hands on the driver's on the steering wheel, and like there are like 3 guys out there with scorpion jackets, and she's just like, come on, come over my way, let's party, come on, you come into the back, I'll take you someplace nice, I promise.
Yes. Love Carmen Sandiego.
But this is where I'm gonna leave it.
Oh.
Gotcha, bitch.
Good shit, everyone.
Gotcha.
Excellent
We
investigating.
finally got off. We finally got off the pot, and you're ending it. No.
That's what I'm here for. So y'all get 1 experience point for a fantastic session. Y'all get an extra experience point for keen investigation. Y'all get an additional experience point for additional investigation. And y'all get another experience point for making judicious use of your resources and allies.
Yay.
Excellent.
Hey,
So by my
So-
count, that makes a total of 4.
yeah.
Beautiful.
I'd be
Thank you,
spending
Mr.
some-
DM.
You're welcome.
Hey, Mr. DM, one question.
Shoot.
With my shaman, can I get additional? I know it's 2 is the highest I can get. Can I get additional things beyond the Arcana I started off with?
Yes.
How much does that cost? Because I don't have the.
It
Arcana
costs
card.
5 per new dot.
Okay, good to know. And if I wanted to be particularly shady, would that be forces?
If you wanted to be what?
Shady, like, really disappear into the shadows.
I don't know. Let me look at the Arcana real quick.
I mean, there's an argument to make for spirit too, where you kind of fold a little bit into another reality. So. But I want Alex to be very shady when she needs to be.
I think if you wanted to fade into another reality, that would be space, which you do not have access to.
Well, I meant more like crossing over into the spirit realm.
Oh, God. If you want to cross over into the spirit realm, then yes, forces is what you're looking for. Actually, prime is what you're looking for. Prime is the
Okay.
magic of magic.
All right, I'll just put the experience points down for now, and I'll figure out what to do with them later.
Chapter 3. Magic.
Where the hell did experience points go? I know I've seen them before. Ah, there they are. Oh, I've got 10.
Arcanus Mundus. Crimney.